So I introduced you to concatenation before in a previous lesson, which just means joining things together. But we've got to be kind of careful, particularly when we start using things like variables, which we'll look at later. So a variable is, for example, let's say score equals 20. So what that means is that the value 20 is placed in the word score. Whenever we need to use the word score, we can just type score and it will print out the value. But we can use that in a string as well. So I could write print you scored, and this is where the problem comes, because we've got a variable now. It's not easy to see what's happening. So if I did plus score, I would get a mistake, because I am trying to join a string and a number together, and it doesn't like that. There we go. So for this statement to work, I've got to use, if you remember, the comma. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put the comma in there. You scored 20. So when we're using variables, it's not so easy to see. So for example, instead of saying that score equals 20, let's say I had that as a string, score equals 20. Now I can write print, well, let's do it this way. Let's copy that completely. This one did not work. But now it works, because score is no longer a number. I've changed score to be a string 20. And this one, this time, is not going to work. So if I copy that and paste that there, I'm going to get an, well, I'm not going to get an error with this one. I'm actually going to get the word 20s, because it doesn't really matter what we use with the comma, only with the plus. So we have to be very careful if we're using variables, what is contained in the variables, whether it's a string or an integer, or actually there's lots more. We saw a float. There's plenty more data types that we can have a look at. And sometimes these statements get a bit long, so let's put score back to 20 as a number. And then I can write out print, whoops, in quotes, you scored. I'll put no space there, because I know the comma will give me a space. And you scored a score, and I'm going to put points on the end so that we can see this work nicely. And now we're going to start changing things around to see what doesn't work. So if I put you scored plus score, that is going to fail, because we've got a string and we've got a number, and it won't like joining them together. Okay, there's my error. So let's do that one again. Let's see if we change them around the other way. So instead of having that there, I put a comma and then I have a plus at the end. What I want you to notice is the error message that I got from the previous one, which is that. And I'm just swapping around the plus and the comma here, and I get an absolutely different message altogether. In fact, it wrote out you scored and then decided it couldn't go any further. And it said type error, unsupported operand, a new word for us, for plus, int and string. So an operator is your maths operators: plus, minus, divide, and times. They're operators because they operate on numbers. So if I wrote 2 plus 3, the operator is plus, the operand is 2, and another operand is 3. So what it's saying, I could not add, okay, mathematically, an integer, a whole number, and a string. In fact, if I just copied that and put 3 there, oops, I've got a string, just put the number 3 there, it would be quite happy. You scored 23. Notice it actually took the value of score and added 3 to it. So we have to be very, very careful when we're using these pluses and commas. There is a method that we shall look at in the next video, which sort of takes us away from this and gives us a more secure way of printing things out.